How many hours per day on average do you study? How is the clinical experience at CDM? Would you say D2 is much harder than D1? Do you feel that you have time to do things you enjoy or have fun on the weekends? Are you planning a big trip for next summer too? If you don't prioritize doing the things that you actually enjoy, you will burn out. When you are signing up to go to dental school or medical school or whatever it is, you are not signing your life over.
One eternity later.
Okay, my battery died, so I went and had a little snack while it charged. I'm back. Alrighty, so last question was about what I would wish to improve about Colombia, so I think I finished answering that. So I'm gonna skip a couple because this person asked a lot of questions, which I really appreciate. Biggest tip to someone applying to Colombia, for someone applying anywhere, make sure that you are just a genuinely well-rounded person, that you don't only have dental experiences or medical field experiences, but also make sure that you have had time in dentistry. Make sure that you have had plenty of shadowing hours, have possibly worked as an assistant, understand what it means to be a dentist and what it means to work as a dentist. Also make sure that you have interests and hobbies and things that are non-dental related, because that's what most of my interview questions were about. If you're curious about interview stuff though, I have a whole video that I will link up here about interviews and my tips for that. So this is an interesting one. Are you planning a big trip for next summer too? Short answer, I don't know. So last summer we had the whole summer off. This summer we kind of just go straight from second into third year in July and we start seeing patients, but we do get 2 weeks off, and I chose 2 weeks off at the end of July. I'm possibly planning a trip, but nothing is booked yet, so I don't know. I guess you'll have to see. I will obviously vlog it if you guys are interested and put it in my travel with me playlist. If you're interested about what I did last summer, I have a couple of videos in that playlist from there. Let's move on to some of the Instagram questions, because I asked this question a few hours ago on Instagram and I actually got some questions that already trickled in, so you guys are the lucky ones because you're early. So the first one I'm seeing here says, how is the clinical experience at CDM? Colombia has this reputation where people say that you don't have enough clinical experience because Colombia just pumps out specialists. Here's my answer to that. Although many people from Colombia tend to specialize, that's mostly because the people that tend to go to Colombia are just extremely competitive people and they want to tack on another credential to their name aside from being a general dentist, which is completely fair. And it shouldn't be something that is a bad thing. And I don't think that you should be discouraged or particularly encouraged whether or not you want to specialize. That's an entirely personal decision. I don't think that anybody's opinion should have a factor of whether or not you want to specialize, but it's true. A lot of Columbia grads do tend to specialize, but a third of us don't. A third of the class every year usually decides to go into general dentistry or does a GPR or an AEGD in order to then apply later on to a different specialty, which again is your journey. It's a very personal one. It's a very personal choice. There is no shame in that. However, I will say that when it comes to doing more complex cases, unlike some schools where people have cases taken away from them in favor of the residents, because we do have residents for several specialties at Columbia. I believe we have OS, Peds, Ortho, we also have Endo. So although, yeah, the more complex cases will go to the residents because that's the specialty that they're pursuing, if you want to have a particular case as a student, you can go and advocate to the faculty of that particular department why you want to do that particular case. If you just want to be a well-rounded general dentist and you want to do endo in your private practice and you want more hands-on experience, guess what? If it's not like a super complicated molar endo, you advocate for yourself and you fight for that case, I'll let you have it. I don't really know if that reputation is really true. I'm also not in my D3 or D4 year where I'm in clinic and I don't personally see the cases that come through. I can't speak for other students that are currently going through it. From my personal experience and from what I've heard from faculty, it's literally all about what you make of your experience. If you want to do more complex cases, you can advocate for yourself and you can get to do those complex cases. So if you're asking me, I don't think that the clinical experience is lacking. We have so much freedom and so much time to practice on our own, find our skills outside of competencies and exams that are graded for us. It really, again, depends on how much time you spend perfecting your hand skills and is entirely dependent on you. Okay, so the next question is, would you say D2 is much harder than D1? Honestly, I will say this. D1 was hard for different reasons than D2 was. I would say the first semester of D2 is definitely harder than D1. As you guys saw in my earlier answer to the question about how I was doing, that semester really took a toll on me and it was really brutal. But second semester, what we're going through right now is much more chill, more straightforward. We know exactly what to expect. We know what's coming down the pipeline. We have a lot more time to practice our hand skills. So I would say first semester definitely is harder than D1. Second semester is not. It's a lot more chill. You get a lot more time and you know exactly what to expect now. Okay, so I think these are the last two questions that I'm gonna do. So this person asked, how many hours per day on average do you study? So that varies completely. Right now, we don't have exams every week or every other week like we did last semester. Last semester, I definitely spent a lot more time studying because it was just like non-stop. It was like every other week we had something, whether it was a quiz or an exam. There wasn't a lot of downtime. I was studying pretty much every day, even for a little bit, whether it was doing Anki cards or whether it was reviewing slides or listening to a lecture that happened earlier that day. This semester, I'm definitely a lot more relaxed, but it doesn't mean that I'm not studying. I am spending a lot more time in lab. Say every day we spend anywhere from 2 hours for class to 4, 5, 6 hours when we're practicing. I think that now I'm spending more time refining my hand skills, and probably per week, maybe 5 hours studying. And then if we have an exam coming up, then double that or triple that, depending on the workload for the exam. And then the very last question that I will answer, and I think this is a really good one to finish off. Do you feel that you have time to do things you enjoy or have fun on the weekends? Absolutely. If you learn anything by watching my day in the life vlogs on TikTok or watching my vlogs here on YouTube, I do my very best to show you both sides, that it is entirely possible to have a life in dental school outside of just school. I try to incorporate things like travel, celebrations for, you know, birthdays and special occasions, because those are so important. When you are signing up to go to dental school or medical school or whatever it is, you are not signing your life over completely to your degree. Even though it takes up a lot of your time and your mental capacity, it is still entirely possible to make time to have fun. And I make sure that whenever we have breaks, within my limits of being able to afford it, I try to travel, I try to see family, I try to see friends. If you don't prioritize doing the things that you actually enjoy, you will burn out. So yes, you do have time, you just have to make it a priority. If you want to be, you know, the top of your class, obviously you'll spend less time doing the things that you enjoy. But for me, going to a pass-fail school gave me that freedom. I don't have to worry about where I stand in the class rank. As long as I'm understanding the material and as long as I'm doing well on my exams, I don't have to worry about it. So I do prioritize spending time doing things that I enjoy, and I think that you should too. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up because my battery's dying again. I didn't give it a lot of time to charge. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Oh my god, it's getting hot in here. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions that you want me to answer, drop them in the comments below. I promise it won't be 6 months after I post this video, but again, you never know. Sometimes, you know, you guys want to see other videos. Thank you for watching to the end. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe, because that is how I poll you guys and you're able to see my community tab posts where I ask you to submit questions like this, or ask you which video you want to see next, or to give me ideas of what kind of content you want me to make. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have some pressing questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them, or I will try to make another video like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.